Why are we called Negroes? Why are we deaf? Why are we dumb and blind? Deaf, dumb and blind. Why is everybody making progress? Yet we seem to be lagging so far behind. Why are we mistreated? Why are we mistreated? Why are we in this condition? Stripped of our name, our language, our culture, our God, and our religion. Here in America, all of our religious training has been gotten by the preacher. He has told us of a heaven way up in the sky that we can't enjoy now, but rather after we die. But all of the years that we are living, for us there's nothing but hell, pain, torture, and misgiving. Yet the Bible speaks of a heaven filled with material luxury, which the white man and the preacher has right here, so we see. So my friend, take it for what it's worth. Your heaven and your hell is right here on this earth. So let's check back into history, which rewards all research and tells us plainly that before the white man gained entry to the east, he was living in the caves of Europe, a ravenous beast, eating juniper root, and eating flesh raw, till God said Moses to civilize.
Welcome back, everyone. Other episode of LANCESCURV. Glad you're here. Glad you've been enjoying the shows. I have to tell you that the responses have been phenomenal. So we're going to bring you more of what we've already been doing. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe, like, and share. Thumbs down if you want. Whatever you want to do. Can't stop you. There's a story that was forwarded to me, and I want to thank the wonderful individual for doing so. Anytime you want to forward a story to me, you can shoot me an email at lance@lancescurv.com. lance@lancescurv.com. I'm going to flash below the particulars for a little while, and you can get the email address there. It's a beautiful Sunday morning. Of course, I am 4 hours ahead of the East Coast. So this is perfect for me to be fully rested and get my morning show on. Although I live in West Africa right now, my heart is still where I was born and raised on the East Coast, New York City, but the East Coast is where I started out this platform. So I'm going to honor the time zone there, but it's for everybody. It's funny how this story was forwarded to me, and it's now Sunday morning. In actuality, it was in the wee hours that I got it. And again, I want to thank you. Sunday morning, church time. Sunday morning, time to get up and go to church. For some, you might go to a mosque, you might go to a synagogue, but religion, which I have a problem with, in the hierarchy of religion, I have a problem with. It's really unnecessary, because religion is supposed to support you. Religion is supposed to undergird you. Religion is supposed to guide you to a higher level of spirituality. Who told you that lie? Why are you a Christian? Now, see, I'm not picking on anybody, but my experience as a black man growing up in America, New York City, has been the Christian experience. So I have a right to speak on my experiences. We're going to take our time with this one. Now, if for any reason there's a power outage or an internet glitch and you don't hear me anymore, give me just a little more time and I'll be right back through my phone. Those things happen. And sometimes I wonder why they happen. Well, I know why. But Sunday morning, we get up and we go to Sunday school before the church service, right? We get up and we usually have a nice breakfast. Hopefully, if you sleep too late, you might miss that breakfast and go to church hungry. That sucks. And so as children, you have Bible study, and that's usually a watered down version of what the parents and the adults do. You're told these stories with meanings behind it. And when you're usually a black child growing up, especially in my day, I'm 60 years old, you know, the people in the Bible don't look like you. So that's number one. It's like, how can I relate to this? That's not the point of this story today. You then have to go and sit through the service week after week, week after week. And in your young child's mind, sometimes and oftentimes you don't understand it, but you accept it anyway because it's something handed to you through your parents and or parent and or caretaker, aunt, cousin, whoever. We have extended families that are not just mother and father, okay? But those who are over you, pink houses. I know the pink houses. I know it well. I used to go there a lot. Brooklyn in the house. Quan Billis. Wait. Hold on. Okay. Quan Billis? I don't know. Hey, I'll just call you Quan. Much love to you. But anyway, we accept pretty much everything when we're a child because we know that not only our parents, the caretakers, those who raised us, that they know best, that whatever they say basically goes because we don't really know as much as they do. And so we have extended family members that appear to be trusted by our parents and or caretakers, extended family. So as a child, we accept them into that circle of trust. And it's okay, as far as it seems, because this is the hierarchy. This is the order of how it is. We have pastors, we have family friends, we have other family members that may not live under the roof, but they can tell us what to do, and we accept it. Because whether our parents said it or not, it's the unwritten rule. And so in the church, you have bishops and pastors and deacons and people who stand up at the podium, people who have good favor and position with the pastor. So wherever we go, we extend that trust in our lives as a child. I mean, hell, what do we know? These children are like blind sheep being led to slaughter. Should it be that way? No. But that's the area in which child predators operate. So we're going to speak about Pastor Robert L. Carter and why I have on the banner, trust no one. And let me speak about that for a second. Me, 90% of the time, I've been burnt. I can say higher. Doesn't, and when I say burnt, I'm not going to use it in the usual New York street way where you caught a sexually transmitted disease, which I've never caught in my life. I wonder why sometime, looking back. But, you know, trust. For me, it has to be earned. There are too many people who in these churches, oh, you can trust him, Brother Robert, Brother Carter. We can trust him. How the hell do you know it? How do you know that you can trust these people? Just because they're in a church and you call them brother? And they're walking around and having direct access into your life because they're in a church. As many as you well know, I've worked as a corrections officer in my life, just a job. But I had a lot of experiences where I got to know child predators. And I've said this before. They've worked in my area. I've worked in their area. No, they didn't work in my area, right? I'm still waking up. I've worked in the areas where they were housed. I had 3 areas that I looked over. Special management. Those were the heavyweights of the incarcerated. I had 1 unit with general population. And I had another one, protective custody. Those are the guys. If they weren't child molesters, which I would say 85% of them were in that area, it might have been a police officer. It might have been, someone high profile that needed to be protected away from the general population. And when I say police officer, I'm not throwing off and saying that they were police officer molesters there, which police officers are capable of doing that. But because of the nature of their job and they're known, if you put them in general population, somebody that they arrested or had a problem with is going to come after them. So you can't put them in with general population. Special management, those are the guys that might tee off on you, punch you in the face out of nowhere, and it was only 1 man to a cell. You had to take 3 officers to go in there and open those doors and roll those doors when you check them. Make a long story short, in the PC area, protective custody, that was one of the most peaceful areas. And one would think, well, because they're glad to be protected from the general population, so they're not really going to act up there. They may have little quirks or little hang-ups against one another, but pretty much they're a facade. And I'm speaking of those who are the child molesters who were arrested for that. They may not have been charged yet, unless I was working in a prison and they were charged. Remember, you can get locked up for anything. It doesn't mean you did it. But between me and you, as far as that's concerned, pretty much you did it. Now, I also have to add in that when you see a person who was we're talking about that, right? But arrested for child molestation or being a child predator. And we're going to get on with the story now, but I want to set the ground rules and just put some things in your head. It doesn't mean they did it either. You have a lot of, how could I say it? I'm not going to pick on single mothers, but I have to say it that way. You have a lot of married couples where the actual blood child may be the victim of the father. I'm not talking about that, although that happens. The one slice of this that I want to mention, and fellas, you have to be careful. You marry into a ready-made family. There's children there. You have to be careful how you move about in the presence of those children. Now, no child is just going to come out and say you did something. But many children, when you marry their mother, they feel as though you're taking their mother away from them because attention has to be shared. Where once mommy could spend the whole day with them, take them shopping, have that mother-child connection, it doesn't mean that you're taking that away when you marry into a family like that. No, it doesn't. But it's usually a challenge to blend in, because it's like a person having a heart transplant, and the heart that's put into that patient, the heart or the body rejects the heart. So there you find yourself in a position where you have to take medication to kind of ease that heart in, and where the body doesn't reject the heart. It's not that easy when you're a stepfather. And that's a whole other topic that I want to speak on, but I have to touch on this also because it's all intermingled. So when there are resentments from the child to the mother or to the stepfather, because now you're going into the bedroom to go to sleep with their mother. What child who may know a little bit about the birds and the bees, they can be underage, but children talk. He's in there doing that to mommy? You ain't my father. That ain't my father. There's a resentment. And so you have to be careful, because any one of those children, after the power struggles are happening, the child can say something that didn't happen. Yes, you need to talk if something happened, but there's certain times when that child, to get back at the stepfather, and it could be the boy or the girl, but usually what I see, and as far as statistics are concerned, it's usually that daughter who resents that stepfather from being there. So she's going to say something to mommy. Mommy, I was in the living room and he walked through the living room when you weren't home and his thing was hanging out. Or he came in the room and I woke up and he was touching me. Right? It could be true, because I know, I would say, personally, they have their statistics, but I would say on a lowball figure, 70% or 75% of the women that I have dated have revealed to me that they were inappropriately touched, or something happened inappropriate that could have been something considered milder to some outright rape. But even still, even the light stuff is major. So that's what I mean. So don't come to me in the comment section and say, oh, you said 75% of the women you dated was rape. What kind of people? No, I did not say that. But there was someone in the inner circle. It doesn't have to be that stepfather. It could be a stepbrother. It could be anybody. That's why I say, trust no one. No, not in 2023. I'm sorry. On any level. Trust has to be earned. Because I've spoken with many who were incarcerated, and we're not even talking about the ones who were accused of molesting a child. But in general population, various crimes, they're locked up. They're talking. And they say, man, I need to find me a good woman. I'm tired of living this life, but I can't make it on my own. So basically they're looking for a woman to use. So they say, man, I got to get my friend to hook me up with a suit. You know what I'm saying? I got to get into a good church, man. What church got them good women in there? Them women in church are freaks too. So I want somebody to look good. I want it the backside. And they are predators to women in the church. So they step in after serving a sentence for whatever. And it could be that some go into the church looking for a woman to use because his earnings are not that of one who doesn't have a record. So that's how it goes. So they come in and you hungry for a man. I'm not going to say every woman is hungry, but there's some who are thirsty. Thirsty. And it's just a matter of time before you bring this man on in. And you got babies. And because of your need to experience those things that happen after dark, you brought in a virus to your computer. You brought in a predator to your home. And because you met him in a church, it's all right. Whether it's a child molester or not, church don't mean everybody standing up in there is okay. No. There's a lot of sick people in the church feeling as though they need to be there to be healed. They go in there and get worse. That's like me wanting to take a bath and going out on the side of the road of a dirt road and carrying a whole lot of soap. I got all this good body wash. I got my wash rag and my towel. And I'm going to sit down in this mud and scrub. And I know I'll be clean because of the soap. But look at what you're laying down in. Do you understand that when you go to a hospital waiting room, emergency room, that there's all kind of sick people there? You ain't well yet just because you're there. So it's the same thing with the church. You ain't well yet until, when you end up there. I'm in church now. Well, you got this man over here lusting after your wife. You got this shyster checking out the car you drove there, which may be a luxury vehicle, and he's figuring he's going to hustle you out of some money. You got the perpetual church lady gossips that invite you over, or they invite themselves over to welcome you into the church, and they're busy looking at everything in your house. You leave your bills on the coffee table and you excuse yourself to go to the restroom, and they looking to see how much you pay for that car note. You got one of your check stubs there. Now they know, and they're going to tell everybody. You see how this thing is? Trust no one. Trust no one. And the last point I want to make with the child predators that I've talked to, hundreds of them, hundreds, if not thousands, over time. They're not my favorite people, but I can tell you what I know. That area, that unit where you have those who are alleged to be, we have to say the word alleged. You can never find a better group of individuals who come off so trustworthy. The body language, everything is so trustworthy. You look, these guys are so mannerable. These guys act so caring, Oh, Officer SCURV, you have a piece of lint on your shoulder. I'm not eating these cheese doodles. I have 3 bags. Would you like them? I mean, and they talk to you because you have to deal with them. You can't treat them bad because of what they're accused of doing, but chances are it's not like everybody in there is innocent either. That's not your job. Do your job. The nurse comes, call their name. It's time to feed food, child, call them, give them their food. They have to leave to go see a lawyer up in the front of the facility. We have to chain them up, belly chain them, ankle, walk them on up there and stay close by unless you have another officer to deal with that. Protocol. So we go on trusting just because this person's in the church. So allow me to read this particular story, which there are a gazillion stories like that, but since I put this man's face on the banner and he is the special guest and target of this discussion, Pastor Robert L. Carter out of Houston, Texas. I like Houston. I've been there a couple of times. I like the vibe there. Shout out to all my family, followers, and friends in Houston. And on that note, the reason why I was in Houston, you all know, I'm going to say it that way. It was discovered that that individual was a person who was raping women. See what I mean? So I'm going to also put a link to that other show. If you want to know who it is, if you don't know who it is, and you want to hear the story from the one who is the partner of this man, and he had me fooled. This guy had me fooled. Unbelievable. Had me fooled. And I'm good, because I don't give trust like that away so fast. No way. I could have sworn on this person's character. So this is why I'm at the phase now of saying trust no one. No one at all. Master Glam, welcome on in. Yeah, it's crazy out here. So, yeah, they wear the mask well, like that song years ago. You wear it well, doom, 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 doom. You wear it well, you wear it well. That might be before the time of many of the people who are here listening. Well, let me read this story. Let me roll it on up. It's a short one. And I have some other things that I want to read off also. A pastor has been charged after a woman claimed to the police that he has been raping her since she was 7 years old. Robert L. Carter, 39, has been arrested and is being held on a $100,000 bond at Harris County Jail in Texas for allegedly sexually abusing her for 12 years. The girl, now 22, told police that it all began with him disrobing in front of her, exposing himself to her, and bribing her with candy. Hence the candy cane that you see on the banner. And because it was a candy cane, I'm going to say ahead of time, the phallus-like imagery of that, I was not trying to be funny. That was just the easiest, more universal piece of candy that I can put there, because I like to have banners that show what the story is all about. She said that one night when she was 7 years old, the pastor walked into her bedroom and made her perform oral sex to him. After that night, raping became a regular occurrence almost every day, she said, according to court documents. The court documents allege Carter would force himself on the young girl while other family members were sleeping. The girl also said that when Carter would drive her to school, he would stop on the way to a HEB store. I'm quite sure that's a store that's maybe something local there. It's just a store, right? And sexually abuse her in the parking lot. Sometimes, she said, he made her watch pornography. The pastor also sexually abused her at the Greater Bible Way Church in Sunnyside, Houston, where he worked. The gruesome details the girl revealed don't end there, as, according to a criminal complaint, the girl said that the pastor impregnated her when she was 16, and she gave birth to a baby boy in a closet, which the pastor then surrendered to a fire station. The baby has since been adopted, she said. The sexual assaults continued until the girl was 19, according to her account. The girl claimed that the assaults occurred at least 600 times. It happened a lot over the years, she told police. At one point, the girl told Carter she was not doing this anymore, and he got mad and threatened her by saying, if you don't do this, I promise you're going to regret it. I'm going to make your life a living hell, court documents allege. Carter turned himself in and has since been arrested and charged with continuous sexual abuse of a child and sexual assault of a child under the age of 17, both felonies. The girl's father told the news she had been around this monster since she was 6 years old. Carter has always been big to her. I had to realize that she had been fearful. I don't understand how you can carry yourself, walk around preaching the word, and live a lie. The father also referred to the girl's pregnancy and labor, saying, what if she would have died that night? She had that baby in the closet by herself. He came and got the baby and took the baby to a fire station and dropped the baby off. Okay, I got a bone to pick with you, father. How the hell are you going to have a grown man around your child that much? Shouldn't you be the one dropping your daughter off to school? And if you had to work or had hours that kept you from doing that, where's the mother? Have it arranged by somebody you trust. But then again, I said, don't trust anyone, right? All these years he was doing this to your daughter, and he had the time and the balls to do this over 600 times from the age of 7 all the way on up to about 19. But she got pregnant at 16. You're not on point, brother. I'm sorry. As a father, you failed your post, you failed your positioning. You know why? Because you trust too many people in the damn church. Churches are toxic. Later on, I'm going to make a few t-shirts, and that's going to be one of them. Churches are toxic. Oh, brother so-and-so, oh, sister so-and-so. Get the F out my face with that. I've seen it too much. And then when you're a victim, doesn't have to be like this. And I'm not blaming the young girl. I'm talking about adults now. Oh, brother so-and-so, he put his hand on my ass. No, I'm not going to say anything about it. Well, then you're just as guilty when other things happen because you're too damn afraid to say anything about it because you believe in the church hierarchy over some child's safety and your respect. Don't let me find out. Even if I ain't got nothing to do with being in the church, let me find out. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to F up the plans of all of these people who live in denial. Y'all are sick. The sick church hierarchy. Oh, I love the Lord. I love God. Oh, Jesus. You should be whipping ass if you talk about you follow Jesus Christ. So Jesus Christ is a in denial, scared to talk punk. Right? The black church in America, the black church all through the Caribbean, and the Caribbean is just as bad, if not worse. The things I've seen and heard, it's disgusting. Disgusting. I'll tell you one thing. We need more sentinels. We need more people not waiting on the police because we are the police. We are the ones who look over our communities and families. And that father, how in the hell can some dude, I don't care if he's a pastor, that don't mean nothing. Male pastors, they got dicks too. We do things with our dicks. We have to say it this way. When a man comes into your house, there's a dick in there somewhere. You ain't supposed to have too many dicks around your household other than yourself as a man. Because dicks have balls, and balls have testosterone that shoots into the system. And then we have our mind, and most of us are watching pornography, and we got these thoughts, and so we're looking to get a little easy friction, but nobody's going to tell you that because he's the pastor. I'm going to say it this way, sorry. That nigga dick wake up hard just like anybody else. I said it. I said it. That's what it is. But we're too damn caught up in that hierarchy of church. Look what this, I mean, alleged, right? Alleged, whatever you want to say, however you say it. And bribed her with candy and said to her that he was going to make her life a living hell. Look, we all have that neighbor who borrows stuff from us, right? Borrows a tool, say a circular saw or a hammer, whatever it may be. And you expect them when they're finished to say, hey, and you don't mind loaning it out every time they ask. But they borrowed it on that Sunday. You know, Sunday, a lot of guys tool around their homes and do little home improvement projects. The next Sunday comes and, you know, you were thinking like, I'm going to do, you know, do a little something around the house and I need that tool. But to be nice, you didn't want to run over there so quick and say, hey, man, I need my tool back, which really is the right thing to do if they don't bring it back. And then something else happens the next Sunday, maybe a little medical emergency. You know, your child fell off the bike and scraped up their knee real bad or got some kind of bee sting and go to the hospital, whatever. You can't do it then. Now you forget about the project. And 3 months go by, you're like, wait a second. I need my circular saw. I need my hammer. I need whatever it is that I loaned out. And when you go to get it, they looking at you like, what are you doing? It's mine now. No. So this pastor who told her, I'm going to make your life a living hell if you tell, first of all, she was underage. First of all, so this conversation shouldn't have ever happened. And there are dudes who, even if you are in a relationship with them, they get so used to having your body. Because in a relationship, I mean, we give and we have an exchange, but you may want to break up. He might be abusive, putting his hand on you, emotionally abusive, and you don't want to be bothered no more. But he got so He got so used to parking his car in your parking space, if you know what I mean. And really, he knows the relationship is over and dead. But how do you separate? It's almost like, I'm going to use the word now, Richard Pryor, when he did a skit where he was breaking up comedian Richard Pryor back in the 70s. I forgot which album it was or what performances it was. It was funny, though. The woman was leaving him. And he said, no, you can take the TV, but leave the pussy. You see what I mean? Because we get caught up in that. And instead of saying, this young lady needs to, she doesn't want to be with me no more. I understand why. I can see why it hurts. I wanted maybe a 15th chance. We can understand that. But the dudes who are on a lower vibration, that's all they're thinking about, because they know how good it felt to be with you. And you know what I mean? So these guys who are lower vibrational, all they thinking about, you're going to be with another man, and you're going to be doing that thing to him that felt so good. Who am I going to have? So that means he wasn't really with you in the first place, because if he was treating you right on an overall level, look, the dessert is going to be there, but it shouldn't be just about the dessert. The pizza, the pasta, the PUSSY. So he felt so comfortable to say that to her, like he owned her body. Where's the father? And I understand that when you're brainwashed and groomed and, he took his time from young. So you're looking at him more like a father figure. Not that you're into anything he did to you, but how did this man get into her life like this? And you got a father. I don't give a damn who it is. So for me, for the rest of my life, on many levels, unless you earn the trust, and you got to earn it good, and I'm still watching you. You know what? I want you to watch me. I want all of us to watch each other. I don't have them kind of thoughts in my mind. I'm not into kids. I'm into grown women. And yes, I'm a married man, but I'm saying theoretically, me and my wiring as a man, I'm into grown women. I personally love it when they give me, and they want to give me, what they offer on those levels as well as the other levels: conversation, companionship, doing things together, working toward a goal, the normal sugar honey iced tea. But when it comes time for that, if you got a slight headache, I ain't trying you. First of all, I would never ask anyway. I wait until you want to give me what I earned. Because some men look at women as receptacles, sperm receptacles. They'll talk to you in such a nice way, but when they text their buddy to tell them all the things that you both did, yeah, man, that's that laugh. Ain't nothing respectful coming toward a woman when a man does that laugh, and he's not going to do it around you. And your business is all out in the street, and you thinking this is a committed relationship. So now, that's with a grown woman. A child, 7 years old, dude, look at his face. Okay, it's a picture. That's a mugshot. Are he looking dead in the? How could you look in the camera lens like that? Look at his face. And I'm not going to say, oh, he's a sick individual. And we got to stop that. We got to stop giving him a pass. Because I know if I'm sick, there's a cure or something to help bring me back to a higher level and state of health. And it's gone. That's sickness. You have the flu? Well, we know that there are natural remedies for the flu. There's natural remedies for an insect bite. There's natural remedies for all different types of sicknesses. And usually when a sickness comes, a malfunction, a dis-ease, you don't have the feeling of ease, it's because of something that we neglected to do, be a deficiency of a nutrient, or we wore ourselves down. But then there's the environmental, which we can't control. But with this, the only cure, and I can't say the K-I-L-L word, right? But to me, it's deletion. Because I'm looking at this man's eyes right now. To me, that's that look when men read you, sizing you up, evaluating you, waiting to see what you're coming with and calculating an answer that would defend what it is or his stance. If I didn't know this dude and I'm looking at him in his eyes right now, I see it already. I may not have known that it would go to him molesting and raping a 7-year-old, but that's not going to be something that's deleted off the list either. You are capable of doing everything under the book that's a violation until I get to know you and I can get to delete certain things off, and you're still not going to get proximity, especially as a penis carrier. Now, that's not to relieve the women, because women can do it too. I've said it before. I'm 5 years old, older female cousin, had me doing all kinds of things to her. Huh? Orally. When I look back, the things she had me doing, she probably didn't have to use as much toilet paper in her day. Okay, y'all know what that is. All right? So it can be women also, to groom you and use you for what their evil makes them crave. That's what it is. It's evil. Ain't no sickness. You know good and damn well what you're doing. See, when you sick and you got the flu and it's time to sneeze, you can't help. Excuse me. And you cover your mouth, or you try to move out the room. You don't want to sneeze the place up and make other people catch it. Right? So sickness, you can't hide. So if he was truly sick, he'd go up in the house where the child was and the father sitting there eating at the dinner table, maybe the mother too. See, if it was sickness, you can't hide it, and you don't hide it. And you tell people, I'm sick. I got the flu, stay away. Do child molesters say, I'm sick? I want to screw your daughter. I'm sorry for using this language, y'all, because I know a lot of women out here and men have been through stuff, but we have to talk in basic terms. Does he walk up in the house while they're eating dinner and say, oh, how you doing? I'm going to the back room. I'm going to have sex with your 7-year-old daughter. No. So you're calculating. That's evil. See? Yeah, you're right, raw reality. Yeah. Yeah, they let him get away with anything. And so I charge that mother and the father to different degrees. There's so much star celebrity admiration for these pastors and anybody in the church, because everybody look holy when they in the church. Just like everybody look good when they go to the club. They put the best foot forward. You can barely have cab fare to get to the daggone club, but you got a Mercedes-Benz logo on your keychain. Walking around with a roll of your rent money. You know you could only spend $5 out of it, but you want to look big. Images, deception. What's the real? And people come at me for saying the things that I know that are out there, which I've always done and I will always continue to do. I am not going to die from emotional constipation. Oh, no, no. Oh, no, no. No way. There are too many deceitful people in our presence. And it could be anybody. I trust no one. I'm going to say it again. I trust no one, especially when they've tried to violate in different ways. Ain't no other dicks in this house other than me. And when they come in, do what you got to do. Your electrician, your plumber, whatever. I was going to cuss. Get out. Ain't no hanging around. Ain't no come over here and give me a hug. The hell you need to hug my wife for? Pressing your dick up against my wife. What the hell? And you think you're gonna be slick and you gonna get away with it? No, I call it out. Oh, I don't know why you're like this. No, I know why. Look at the banner. How did that man ease himself into that life to be able to do this 600 times? 600 times. In the parking lot of the supermarket, after school, before school. It's a wonder where the little girl can write and read. Traumatized. Everybody else coming from their house, nice breakfast, have a good day at school, kiss on the cheek. And she had to give oral sex that morning. This passed his musty balls up in her face. That's what it is. You got the nerve to tell her, I'll make your life a living hell. Well, you little bitch, I'm gonna tell you one thing. You already made her life a living hell by doing this. How dare you feel entitled to a person's child? And I don't care if it's not my child. If I see it, I'm beating some ass. I'm gonna damn near delete you. I swear that's my word. That's not even talking tough. But also too, those parents who know, now I wouldn't smack a woman, right? But they need to be put in their place. Can you imagine those who have children, nieces and nephews? I don't care how many years it took. 600 times. Yes, it was over years, but one time is too much. Your children should not leave your eyesight, and you need to know you can't trust these daycare centers either. Any daycare center needs to have video camera coverage that you can go in on your phone and see every inch of that daycare. Anytime your child has to go to a restroom in that daycare, there needs to be an adult and another adult. Doesn't mean you're going to be looking at what they're doing, but they're making sure, unless both of them are in on something that shouldn't happen. But the camera should be outside of that restroom area, the door slightly cracked, right? And you both stand in front of it. If they need any assistance, you can't videotape that, but that's going to have to be something that both people keep each other in check with. Your children are precious cargo, and it takes one time to mess their minds up. Precious cargo. See, I'm not saying, when I say you, I don't mean anybody who's listening or anybody here in the chat room. I'm just saying, you have jewelry. Would you take your expensive jewelry and put it out on the curb and have a good night's sleep? No, you ain't doing that, because you're like, somebody's going to take it. Your children are worth more than silver, gold, or platinum. Why do you trust others to take control away from your eyesight? Now, there are certain times in emergencies, we understand that. And we do have trusted family members. But your righteously roving eye should be looking at everything. I had a situation where a young lady saying, "Oh, Lance, just watch my children for a second. I'm going to run down to the corner store." I'm like, ho. Me inside? Listen, it was summertime. I'll stay out here on the porch. They're in the living room right there where you can see them. Keep the door open. But the fly's going to go. No, yeah, well, let a few flies go in. I don't want nobody saying, they ain't going to say that about you, but maybe somebody across the street, see that nosy lady across the street that don't like me? Who knows? She might start a rumor. Ain't nobody coming for me. Even to the point when I worked in the jail, I did not want to work around the women. Not because I didn't trust myself, but don't allow yourself to be put in a situation that looks suspect. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. That's right, Raw Reality. I'll put it on the screen, what you just said. That mother had to know something was going on if he was able to do that many times to that child. Lots of times we turn our head. And the child, how was the child acting? They usually give you indications that something is going on. I mean, it's not like the mother had the child and didn't know the child. The child, they raised the child. So in the behavior of the child, you didn't notice something different? Because children can't lie. I just don't understand. We need to bring back that old school way of doing things. And even still in the old school, things happen. I know grown adults who were victims of incest and molestations and different things. And I have to say, in the Black community, it's common. In the Black community, too many of us expect this thing to happen. I'm not going to say anybody is good with this happening because it may have happened to you, but I've heard people, when a grown daughter had approached the mother about what has happened all those years that you never acknowledged in a similar situation, and the mother turned around and said, well, I was molested and I was raped too. I was like, WTF? If the dude that did this to my child was dead in the grave, I'm digging up that grave that night. I'm digging up by myself. Lance, why are you going to the graveyard with a shovel? I got business to take care of. We know the essence of that being is gone. But I need to bring some peace to myself. And I'm going to smear that joker's name while I got his skull in my hand. I'm stupid like that. I would do that. I dare anybody to try me on any level, because I don't bother nobody. I stay to myself. If you cross me the wrong way, I'm going to do you. We ain't talking about the way Melissa Morgan said it. Do me, baby, like I never been done before. Well, yeah, I could say that, but it's not in a sexual way. I'm going to do you in a way that you've never been done before. Because I can't take something on my head like that. And I got to think about that. Me failing as a father or a brother or, you know what I mean? Not on my watch. I might tell crazy jokes and maybe a little zany and weird sometime, but that ain't going down. And even if you trust me, it's not going to be a situation afterward where anybody can say anything. And I'm not being funny to you. It has to be that way. Because somebody, remember 5 years ago? And they have to come get you. You ain't putting me in that situation. It may not be you, but nobody else is going to put me in that situation. Maybe because they want to spite somebody. There's a lot of, and I'll say it this way too, there's a lot of innocent men that are locked up from accusations. And sometimes they're put away. They're put away. Just want to throw a few things out here. I'm not going to read this whole article. I'm going to freestyle it. This is just going to be a short one this morning. But I want to say from this article, and I'll put this afterward. It's not there now, but I'll put it in the description area below so you can go to the details. This was written a couple of years ago, but the truths in it remain valid. Here it is. Child molesters come from all economic backgrounds, geographic areas, and include every ethnicity, race, and creed. The sole characteristic all child molesters share is having thoughts about being sexual with children and acting on those thoughts. These individuals actively seek access to children and the opportunity to be alone with them. Right? Contrary to stranger danger warnings, child molesters are rarely strangers. At least 90% of sexually abused children are abused by someone the child and or family knows. Someone in the child's immediate extended family or someone close to the family. Who can be a child molester? Any gender? 88% are male, 9% are female, 3% are unknown. And these can fluctuate. And it doesn't, this is not written in stone. That is from what has been revealed. So it always doesn't have to be that way. And the next one, all ages, including kids, teens, and seniors, all socioeconomic groups, wealthy, middle class, and disadvantaged, all races and ethnicities. diverse occupations, right? What percentage of child sexual abuse is committed by family members? 49% of victims under age 6. 42% of victims ages 7 to 11, and 24% of victims 12 to 17 years old. But this is disturbing. None of it should be. But 49% of victims under age 6? So you got somebody in your neighborhood, in your family, at the supermarket, on your job who came over for a cookout, is looking at your child who's under age 6. So about, I can't even joke about it. I wasn't even trying to joke about it. I can't even try to even think that somebody would look at a child and go, to themselves, don't you feel creepy? That is not sick. That's damn evil. The younger the child, the more likely their abuser is a family member. Keep in mind that family members include parents, guardians, step-parents, siblings, step-siblings, cousins, uncles, aunts, and grandparents. I had one who was incarcerated in the juvenile section close to my area that I worked in. And sometimes and oftentimes, if an officer called out, they'd get one of us to go over there and cover. Or I'd go into that area, not because I wanted to, but I put in for overtime and they assigned me back to that area. So there are a lot of young men who, under the age of 18, they were there. And in Orlando, they had a whole separate facility for them. So I don't know why they had them. They were separate from the over 18 inmates, but for some reason they had like a little area there for them. And it might have been maybe about 25, 30 incarcerated. And so there was a little white kid. Yeah, the white kids locked up too. But in that area, for some reason, it seemed to be, and I'm just being honest, it was about 85% us, black people, black juveniles, Latino in some way. But it was always majority us. That's not to knock us. I'm just telling you like it is. And there was this real skinny white boy. I think he was like 15 or 16 years old. The guy was, he was emaciated. He was already skinny, but he was skinny. Looked like he didn't eat for 2 weeks. This guy could slip through a door and not have to open it. He can just slip past, just move the lock part, and get inside. He also would sleep, I would say, 20 hours out of the day and just sit up on his bed for 2 hours groggy, and he might come out to get something to eat. A lot of times he didn't even want to eat his food. I was like, yo, what's up with this guy? And we had computers there so we can check the charges of that particular individual. It didn't matter to me, but I said, let me see what's up with this guy. So he evidently killed his grandfather. And it was a situation where the father wasn't around. The grandfather lived with the mother, right? And his wife, the grandmother, passed away. So it was the grandfather and the mother worked like 2 jobs. The grandfather was like up there in age. So he looked over, the son, his grandson. Nothing wrong with that. But that's an opportunity for something to happen if you have that in your heart. So he also, and I'll add this as a side note, I don't understand it. I don't understand how the human mind works, but there are a lot of guys going in his cell. And you're not supposed to go in somebody else's cell. Even when it's open, a general population cell, when your individual cells are open, you're not supposed to go in there. Unless you call to the office and say, hey, he's going to have me take so-and-so, he's going to hand something to me. That's why I'm near the cell. You come down in the open area in the day room. You don't go up in anybody's cell. Some officers don't care, but a lot of stuff happens that way. So I noticed, and I wasn't working every day, but at times I went, I said, hey man, all 5 of y'all can't be hanging around the cell. What's going on? I went to check and I said, so the white guy, and I said, you okay, man? I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm like, why are these young brothers interested in hanging around? I said, did they threaten you? Now, I'm not saying black men are going to be threatened, but I'm just saying this is jail, y'all. You got 5 or 6 black men, young black men, hanging around a white boy's cell. I'm not trying to protect him because he's white. I protect anybody, black, anything. That's my job. But it looked funny. And he was always okay with it. I said, listen, I got to him by himself. I said, man, you giving your stuff away, people threatening you because, you know, he had money in his commissary, so he can get extra things above what the jail gives, because the jail just going to give you some nasty food 3 times a day, and that's it. You drink water if you're thirsty. So when you have money from your family in your commissary account, they pass out a list every week, and you can pick out, okay, I want to get that razor so I can shave, but it's a certain kind of razor, right? I'm going to get that little tuna fish in a little bag, cheese doodles, crackers, candy, a little radio, little tiny radios. Those little headphones, the little wire was so thin that about a week is dead. But no, it wasn't that. It wasn't that. So these guys would always be giggling when they go around the cell and looking down like they're doing something. I'm going to tell you what happened with him, why he was charged, but I just had to interject this. That kid, his mind was messed up because he was in there giving head to everybody who wanted it. And it made me look at the young brothers like, come on, man, this is a dude. This is a white dude, man. You coming in here? Yeah, man, but you know, he hitting us all. We ain't gay, you know, but we just jailing. I said, listen, if that ain't in you doing that mess. Because I want to see a woman when that's being done to me. I want to see titties hanging. I want to see some thighs and some booty. I don't want no dude. I don't care what they look like. I don't care what that feel like. That's a rejection. My body would go in the automatic and jump off a bridge, but it wouldn't even happen like that. But check this out. I went in there for a little while to sit down with him, just like I was checking the cell. Hey, dude, how you doing, man? You're up. You're sleeping all the time, right? Well, they had me on medication because of what happened. Now, you're not supposed to ask them their business. You can see on the computer, but, you know, you can sit around and listen. So I echoed his words. What happened? I said, something happened here today? And I knew it wasn't that, but I wanted to egg him on to say something. Well, you don't know my charges? And I knew to a point, but I didn't hear the gory details. I said, no, man, I don't really work the area. You know, I was doing my artwork and everything at the desk between checks. You're a really good artist. I like you. But I want to tell you what happened to me. My father was never around. And my grandfather took care of me, and I was always around him. And I love my grandfather. But when I got to a certain age, you know, we sit on the couch and watch movies. He always got good movies for me to watch. And I loved him so much. My mother was always working, and I hardly saw her. And I would always notice he was putting his hand between his legs and squeezing. And so, you know, I tried to copy that. I don't know why he was doing that, but, you know, you copy the things, and he would put my hand on it. It was really big. And after a time, he'd always want us to cuddle on the couch. And he'd take it out, and I didn't say anything. And one day he pushed my head down. You know, I'm not going to go into the whole thing. I'm sick for repeating it. You know what I mean? But we have to talk to our children. You can't make them scared to talk to us. Well, the grandfather for many years, from around 5 or 6, 7, 8, right around in there, was forcing him to perform oral sex on him, and would beat him if he didn't complete the act, if you know what I mean. So, that being said, he got fed up with it one day, really fed up with it. And he got the grandfather's shotgun. And it was really sad because the grandfather was drunk at the time and didn't eat him because he refused to swallow. Let's just be real. But he fell asleep on the couch. This kid got the shotgun, put the shotgun in the mouth of the grandfather, woke the grandfather up. The grandfather, you know, he's leaning his little skinny weight down on it, and the grandfather was drunk. He's an old man. And he said it to me this way. He said, "Granddaddy, you made me suck your dick all these years. I want you to suck mine." Pow. And blew his brains out all over the place. And then he threw down the rifle and ran where he had to run, and whatever happened. You know, so these things happen, and it's unfortunate, but we as caretakers, fathers, mothers, aunts, uncles, whatever, you know, there's things we got to do. You know, I'm going to read a little bit more of this. The affection lure. What is the most common lure used by child molesters? The affection lure is used both offline and online to exploit unsuspecting youngsters in need of love and attention. Most victims of abuse are befriended and groomed over a period of hours, days, weeks, months, or years. Child molesters have repeatedly admitted when there's a physically or emotionally absent parent in the picture, it makes the child more vulnerable to grooming and abuse. I'm going to post this article, but I'm going to skip by certain parts. Here's a good one. How do child molesters gain access to their victims? While some sexual abuse is purely opportunistic, most children are groomed and lured into situations where they are vulnerable to abuse. Common grooming strategies include befriending parents, particularly single parents, to gain access to their children, offering babysitting services to busy parents or guardians, taking jobs and participating in community events that involve children, becoming a guardian or foster parent, attending sporting events for children, offering to coach children's sports, volunteering in youth organizations, offering to chaperone overnight trips, loitering in places children frequent, playgrounds, parks, malls, game arcades, sports fields, etc. Befriending youngsters on social media, TikTok, YouTube, Kike, Snapchat, Instagram, etc., and online gaming platforms. How do sex offenders lure kids online? Internet predators use the same lures online that are used offline. They typically target uninformed and unsuspecting youngsters to engage in virtual relationships by luring them with flattery, attention, and feelings of being close to an online friend. In essence, the affection lure, friendship lure, and ego lure are being used online. Lonely, neglected, confused, and risk-taking adolescents are most vulnerable. The risk increases if they share intimate images of themselves or have inappropriate conversations. The internet predator becomes a more serious threat when they obtain a youngster's personal information, full name, phone number, address, school, sports team, convinces them to send inappropriate images, or manages to arrange a private in-person meeting. Youth who have shared too much personal information or agreed to in-person meetings without adult supervision have been robbed, physically assaulted, and sexually abused. Cyber predators who convince youngsters to share intimate pictures or video often use blackmail to get more images. This is known as sextortion, which law enforcement has identified as a real and significant threat to the safety of all youth. Children and teens are still more likely to be sexually exploited in person or virtually by someone they know, including a peer, than an internet predator. This is why it's important to remind kids to limit how much personal information they share with everyone, to keep passwords private, even from friends, and to never, ever send inappropriate images to anyone. How else do child molesters use the internet? Since the dawn of the internet, child molesters around the globe have used it to share beliefs and experiences, even descriptions, names, and images of children they have abused. Now, the dark web is where they socialize, as well as share and sell child pornography, easily produced with cell phone cameras and sometimes even shown in real time. It is essential for parents to teach children and teens they must not ask for nor provide nude or semi-nude photos, ever. Many sexted images children and teens have been pressured into sending or send to be funny end up in the child porn collections of American and international child porn collectors. Despite law enforcement's best efforts, it is next to impossible to keep child pornography images out of the circulation on the web. I just want to get y'all hip to something else. It's been around for a while, several years, but there's a new social media platform for the most part, because it's exploding now, called Mastodon. Mastodon is a legit social media platform, but because of its very makeup, it's used by child predators. So if you even see you have a teen or whatever age on Mastodon, at that age, it's similar to Twitter, but it's so technically different. It's hard for me to explain, but I'm going to try to explain it, because people say, well, listen, they're child predators, they're like that. Shouldn't it be easy to catch them? No, because the way it's set up, it's not one platform. It's like a dragon with many heads, many servers connected in, many independent servers connected into the one Mastodon. So if you check one person's server connected to it, right, it's different. That's its own thing, to its own universe. So if you have 200,000 individual servers on there and they're closed off to the public, what are y'all doing in there, right? Doesn't mean you do anything bad, because I just recently joined it myself. It's an excellent way to distribute the postings of my blog with interesting people who have the same interests. I happen to, this morning, sign up to a digital art group, and they share tips on how to use your digital tablet. I draw with a pen and pencil, but I'll upload my art and then put it digital to put a little color in, right? I'm interested in doing that now. So I've learned a lot that way. Of course, you know, I'm a boxing fan. I used to do bodybuilding, so I keep up with that. So those are the things that I keep up with. But you can use this thing in a way that is totally inappropriate, and in a way where it's damn near impossible to catch the child predators that are on there. Now, there's an article, and I actually did a story about this less than a year ago, about Mastodon. So don't demonize Mastodon. It's how it's used, because I'm going to be pushing my link for that. That's something I'm going to be also using. But we have to get that straight. Now, from what I heard, it went from, at one point, the numbers may not be correct, but I'll say like 40,000 users that have been found to be into the whole child thing. Now it's over 250,000 and blowing up. The secret's out. You can go there and share information in these secret little groups. But the actual platform, they can't do anything about it. That's like having a hotel room or a hotel. Let's just make it up. A hotel got 10,000 rooms in it. Everybody paid. There's no screaming. There's no smell of anything that shouldn't be, the smell of drugs or any disruption. Everybody's quiet. And the cops show up. They say, can you tell if there's anything going on here? No, everything's quiet so far. But inside those rooms, somebody could be getting murdered, molested, beat down, but you just don't hear it. That's the way it is there. You can't see it. And then with the combination of the dark web, this is the best way for me to describe the dark web. They say 75% of the earth is covered by water. And we see shows of people going underwater and different things like that, right? But 75%, which means 25%, is land. And you can police the land and people are still doing things and getting away with it, but underwater, that's the dark web. That's where you go and it's no man's, I mean, you can buy drugs, you can buy illegal firearms, you can purchase child pornography. They say it's like underwater, under the ocean. We go to the beach, oh, it's pretty what? There's a whole world under that ocean, more than what you see on land. And when you go deep in the ocean, you got things that are so huge and used to living with a certain amount of pressure that if they were even ever to come up to the surface, they would disintegrate. It's a world that we don't even know about. It's a world that our neighbors or coworkers could be going on, and they use currency to pay for things. You know what I mean? So you see how crypto can be used in a really bad way, because it's not as easy to trace that as it is to say, oh, out of your bank account, out of your checking account, out of your credit card number paid for this, so you're linked to this. No. People go on the dark web and get legit things. Sometimes your social security number, your checking account number, your credit card or debit card number can get in there where people can get it and use it, and there's nobody to catch. So we're really fighting a battle that's damn near impossible. The only way we can all win is if we all are on point and we all focus on watching everything around our children and never leaving them without protection. See, this article has a lot of things on it. I think it was written back in 2017, but that's just the other day. You know what I mean? These things is still, you know, here it is. I'm going to read this part. I'm going to sign off in a little while. If I haven't acknowledged anybody in the chat room, it's because I'm just focused on what I'm saying. I love you all. You know that. Why is it that most victims did not tell someone about their abuse or attempted abuse? There are many reasons why 9 in 10 children do not tell about being sexually abused, because the abuser is often a family member. The child may be dependent on their abuser for basics like food and shelter. They may still love the abuser and not want to get them in trouble, or they may fear breaking up the family. They may have been threatened not to tell, so they're afraid. Many survivors of sexual abuse feel embarrassment, shame, and a sense of guilt over what happened. They may mistakenly believe they are somehow responsible. They did something to make the abuse happen. They did not. Other kids, especially boys, are afraid parents will overreact or restrict their freedom, so they keep quiet. However, being sexually abused is never a child's fault. Think first and stay safe, right? And you have many periodicals out here, shows and programs that say that, you know, teach children and teens that all secrets can be told, right? And one good thing that I heard on a video one time, sometimes we go to children and say, has anybody ever touched you? Has anybody? And it kind of frees up, because just like with the aforementioned reasons, they don't want to get the person in trouble. They still may love them. They might have been threatened. So what you do in talking to an imaginary person on the phone and nobody else is around, or somebody where you kind of plan this and the child is in the next room within an earshot, and you say these things, you think of a theoretical, you think of an imaginary situation. You know, I have a friend on the job that, you know, the son was molested, the daughter was molested. And I just want to say, you know, they're not the victims. They're usually threatened, but they're not the victims. They're afraid to come forward. And if that happened to one of my children, I'd welcome them to tell me what happened. I would never get them in trouble for them revealing that, and it is not their fault. They need to overhear these things, not always directly. It needs to be reinforced, because children do overhear most of what we talk about, whether we think we're fooling them or not. You ever go around a friend's house or other family members, or uncle, aunt, whatever, and they have kids. Well, isn't it funny how when the kids get a certain age, the children get a certain age, they can imitate that parent, mother or father, down to a T. And it's almost comical. They may call your name and tell you to come and finish clean up your room, and that child will lip sync the parent's words. Lance, you need to come inside. And they're sitting there like it's a Chinese movie, and they're lip syncing the parent because they know you well. It should be that way. And you should use that connection to reinforce communication, because too many parents are just like, you're the child, I know better, shut up. Well, guess what? You're teaching that child to accept that type of hierarchy from another person who's an adult close by to you who you deem to be trusted. And do you want to come against your parents or your caretaker to say that they're not trustworthy? You feel as though you're messing things up. See? Shouldn't be that way. So there's more to this article. Let me just scroll through. I think it's pretty much it what I'll read. There's a whole lot of things there. A whole lot of good information. There's a whole lot of good information on the internet anyway. It's not going to stop these people who are evil. Remember, they are not sick. You correct anybody who's, oh, they're sick. They're sick. How do you kill them? Well, they're sick and they do that. They need to see their maker immediately because they're too conniving. They don't care about you. You as a parent, they will sit up and play you, come around you and get you to trust them so they can have that is not sick. That's evil. And it doesn't stop. This is why when you have to run a search on the child predators that were convicted in your area, you'll be surprised. When you have a map and you see the map and you see all of these dots, you go look at some of them faces. Those are people you might have seen on public transportation, people you might have seen in the supermarket, in the checkout line in front of you, people in your church. And remember, let's try to imagine. There's so many of them that have been caught. But what about the ones who have that thought in their mind, who haven't done anything yet, but will do something when the opportunity presents itself or when they finish grooming your child? How many more? Do you think that because they locked them up, that's all it is? I feel that the majority of child predators are out there free, doing their thing right now as we speak. Where is your child? Where is your niece or nephew? Where is that little child next door when they have an adult that goes over there because they're going to babysit them or sit with them? You next door, and they have a little thing going on in the backyard, and it's just that man who's a trusted friend or an uncle or whatever, and you peek out, in the inner cities, houses are close together, and you peek over into the backyard and see that person touching that child inappropriately or doing something, exposing himself, making them touch him. You got cell phones. You videotape that bad boy, so when you show that parent, they can't, he's just lying. Because see, a lot of the parents out here, I'm not saying all, but there are a lot of, we just talking now. There's a lot out here who are in straight denial of things that may have happened to them and things that are happening to the children, or the possibility of that being the reality. They want to have this glazed over, reality is beautiful, and this is the way it is, and they cannot face finding out and discovering what is really going on. And I have to apologize. I'm not saying every situation is like this, but too many. And you can never be too careful. As the protector of your children and any child on your watch, you have to understand how these things work, and you have to have that in the back of your mind. The slightest thing. Sometimes we catch people looking, come on, you go to the mall, you got a woman with a nice shape and a tight skirt on, the dude glances over. We know what he's looking at, what he's thinking. It's a grown woman. Okay, he's going to do that. Usually he's not going to find and rape her nowhere. But if you see a child in your presence and it's someone else who you deem to be trusted, and you catch that quick 2-second glance on your child that you know is inappropriate. See, it's those split-second things that reveal to you and should make a red flag pop up. You watch that, and you process that, and you make sure to protect your child even more so, but you watching out for the next indication. And you don't wait for something to happen. You just make sure this person is not around your child. And they're going to figure it out after a while, even if you weren't verbal about it. This pastor here, Robert L. Carter, there are different reports out there that say that he was a family member to that child, and there's some that just say that he was a trusted person. Those details will come out as we follow this case. But they'll figure it out. And when they try to push up or press forward to be around that child because they sense that you got hip to their game, they're going to try to press up on it. And you make sure it's not happening. And they might even brazenly ask you, well, you know what? Things seem to be different. You don't allow me around, I don't want to call any names because I'm not going to say a name and people think that's them I'm talking about, because I know pretty much every name under the sun on social media all these years. But, you know, is everything all right? And they will be brazen and do that. They worse than a crackhead. Now, I'm not throwing off at anybody who uses crack or kick the habit, but we all know, and you got to laugh too, a crackhead will steal from you. And when you see them, now you know the crackhead, right? You know, they smoke crack, you know them. Something's missing. The crackhead will come back and help you search for the missing item, knowing good and damn well that they're the ones that stole it. So these predators, they'll even talk righteous. They'll even talk about the child predators to make you trust them even more. You know, you have to be very careful out here with these molesters out here. You know, because if I ever catch anybody with, they'll say these things, and they're the ones who are the molester. They're grooming you. Oh, I can trust him. He hates child molesters and child predators too. Oh, I'm so blessed to have someone like you in little Johnny's life. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, fool, I got you sprung. You trusting me. No, I'm not. So we're going to be straight up. See me? What I would do is be like, listen, we close and everything. We're going to make a situation where there ain't nothing going to happen. And my children already know. Let me know what's up. I just can't look in this man's face on the banner, Pastor Robert L. Carter. Yo, I got a sixth sense for this stuff. And still, these slimy little bastards are so good that the one that I was going to Houston, you know, somebody in the chat room put the doctor's name in there. I'm not going to say it, not because I'm scared. No. But I want you to do it. And I'll drop the link. You all know who it is. Dr. Who? The one I went out to Houston, who is locked up right now for raping women. And his former mate said on the show, or told me there could be upwards of 50 women like this, but yet and still, you claim to be all that. And we get fooled by the imagery. And really, he ain't no doctor anyway, I found out. But he is a pastor. See, so he worked his way into an elevated position to have this facade. And we just grant this trust to them. And they could be the biggest ones. Let me tell you something. There's a guy who used crack. He knew it. We knew it. We talked about it in my neighborhood. I ain't going to say his last name, but he's a cousin of a woman who made a big hit back in 1981. Heartbeat. It makes you feel so real. Michael. He passed away. But I'll say it the funny way. He was a crackhead who had integrity. He was old enough to know, I am not stealing from anybody around here because they will give me money to do the yard work, to clean up. He was the guy that did all the dirty, nasty work that nobody wanted to do. Michael had keys to people's houses. He didn't have keys to my house, but we never looked to double check on him because he knew if he violated one person and stole from them, that the gig in the whole neighborhood was up. So he earned his trust. We're talking about a guy who used crack. He said, well, I'm going to take a break right now. You won't see me for an hour. Okay, here, man, it's $10. But he did the work. So it doesn't, look. To me, I'll say that's sick. That was a sickness. But for these people who do the other thing, it's straight up evil. Straight up evil each and every time. So I'm going to leave you all with that. I woke up and I said, hey, let's talk. If you missed the show with Danina, it's right here on the timeline on LANCESCURV, YouTube. It's also at LANCESCURV.com. And I also say again that if you don't see me on YouTube or any social media platform, you can always go to LANCESCURV.com. That's where we have everything, not just YouTube videos. So yeah, you're right, Raw Reality. We just just put this up here. There you go. That's what it is. And I leave his videos up, not because I'm trying to get hits, but there are people who are going to see that. And I posted, I'm still going through some of the links to post the story, the interview that we did with his, I don't want to say wife. I don't know if there's a piece of paper or not, but you know, his mate, and the things that he did to her. She spoke on that show. If you saw that show, let me know. But I'm going to find it. I'm still going to post it below also, so you can see how deep this thing goes. I'm sorry. I just can't give trust like that. You know, I know that many are trustworthy. I'm not saying that. But I just can't just hand it out. Like that Chinese dude at the food court giving out sesame chicken. You know what I mean? To get you to come back and buy the whole plate. I can't just give it out that way. And I observe and I know in my heart of hearts who pretty much I can trust. But I just don't give it out like that because of positioning, because children are definitely groomed. But parents and caretakers, we need to speak on how they are groomed also. That's another show, another conversation. Every topic we talk about stokes another topic to talk about, because this world, everything is related. It's not just separate that way, right? So we have to always and continuously keep our head on the swivel, our mind on the swivel, and we need to cleanse and ground and connect. Why? So our intuition is working at full force. That gut feeling, that spirit of discernment, that's the number one thing we have to arm ourselves with. It's not just what we see, but with the physical eyes, because the physical eyes are usually manipulated to work against us. And that's what these demons do. They know how to shapeshift right in front of you. And you'll go on defending them because you're groomed as an adult. And I admit I was fooled. Now, he wasn't, from what I heard, wasn't molesting children, but he was raping women, pushing up on them, using his practice to gain trust, a whole operation and celebrities and buying, flying you in. And he used me for credibility. I may not have 10 million subscribers, but the people who know me here on this platform, I'm not even saying trust me. I'm just saying, you know what it is that I do. And many people have given me trust, and I have earned the trust of many out here. I earned it. And this is why I have to vet people even more so when they come on. Unless you're sharing a story about some, you know, but if you're trying to get in and be like, yeah, Lance, back me up. If I don't know you, I can't do that. And this is why you just can't give it away like that. You just can't do it. You just can't do it. you know, yes, Keto, thank you. Thank you for coming on last night. And, you know, we'll do that more. Dr. Ade, she loves the interaction. She's not big on social media as far as knowing as much, but I told her I'd dedicate and commit myself to getting your name out there. You know what I mean? Even if it's a show that doesn't involve her, I always push. So on that note, I'm going to say go to Dr. Ade's YouTube channel and subscribe. This is exactly as it is written in her name. It may not have the dot, but have the doctor, right? But that's her name. And you go on YouTube and just make sure to subscribe. Click on the videos, leave comments, let them know, listen, I saw you over by LANCESCURV. That lets her know that I'm doing my work for her. Yes. But I just love the interaction. We were up, had Danina's show on, had Dr. Dave's show on before that. So I said, first thing when I get up, I ain't gonna say I woke up at 6 o'clock. I'm 4 hours ahead of y'all. So if it's 12:50 for me, that means what now? 4 hours ahead. So it's what, 8:50? 8:50 for you. So yeah, on the East Coast. And I'm coming with more stuff. I'm gonna grab a meal, create some more stuff on some different platforms, working on some different things. I'll reveal them soon. I just want to build them up. But I'm gonna end it at that. There's so much more that we can talk about on this subject. And of course, we will be speaking on this topic in a different way. Because my philosophy is, you know, you can talk about this one topic a gazillion different ways. And because I saw this story and the story was forwarded to me, it brought it up where I can talk about the grooming and the molestation coming from a different way. That trust, the positioning, a pastor, come on. Now, I'm not demonizing all pastors, right? But we just can't give it away, the trust on positioning. Because see him there, I don't care how many people, him, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm looking in his eyes right now. I don't trust that dude. We need to be like that. You see, we may knock the people who earn their money out in the street. I don't have a high regard for any drug dealers who will sell stuff to people and hurt them for profit. But one thing we have to learn about the people in the street, no matter what they do, their intuition, their third eye, if you want to call it that. And I'm going to tell you too, those who claim to be Christians, and yes, I'm blessed and highly favored, and you know, I have the spirit of discernment. God lets me know. Listen, that spirit of discernment that you may claim as a Christian, I'm not saying all, but a whole lot. Now, I'll say the majority. It ain't working. Like that dude in the street who's hustling, and he has to watch every car go by and figure out if it's the popo or not. Who's coming to cop the drugs because the wrong sale will get me locked up. See what I mean? So they have to have an intuition that's working high level because their very freedom depends on it. Again, I'm not glorifying what they do. I'm just pointing out an aspect of their existence. They have to have it running. See, they ain't going to trust no pastor. Lots of times the pastor's walking over to them and giving them that handshake where that $10 is exchanged and the thumb grabs the crack. But the pastor's well-dressed, and we'll go by, oh, we saw the pastor out there with the drug dealers. Well, you know, pastor's a good man, and he likes to minister to the downtrodden of us. So he's only doing God's work. Yeah, right. Everything that appears to be a certain way may not be. I don't know if they have many like that now, but in the Word Find magazines and little things you take with you, find this word, and what is this word? Little crossword puzzles. They also had little magazines, little booklets that, you know, you carry them with you when you travel. They have the same picture, like on a page, 4 times. And at first glance, hey, that's the same picture. But no, in each picture, you had to show what was hidden in there different. On one picture, you may see a woman. It's the same picture now, same layout, but the woman has a necklace on and it has a pendant on it that's circular. On the other picture, it may be round, square. On the other picture, it may not even be there. You see what I mean? They may have different shoes on, so you have to point this thing out. It makes your mind work to look deeper. We oftentimes don't see reality for what's screaming in our face. I remember when I was in the Corrections Academy and they had us watch a videotape. It wasn't long. It might have been maybe even 2 minutes. But they told us, observe every single detail in that video. And so we had our eyes peeled. We're going to find out what's going on here. We didn't know why. They just said, watch every detail. Well, the camera angle was facing the counter of a small, very small general store. And there was a woman behind the counter, who owned the store. And there was a woman making a purchase. Okay. Looked at the shoes, looked at the dress, looked at everything she had on, looked at the things that were on the shelf. And a man came in as she was finalizing her transaction with the store owner and pulled out a gun and said, I need all your money. And he walked away with the money. So now they cut the TV off. It said, report on every single detail what you observed in that video. It blindsided us because did I say signed it? Time to get something to eat. I'm at that calculator that gets low on batteries and starts showing E's. But it blindsided us. So here we are. I'm thinking, yeah, we got it right. When he collected all of the reports, he gave us only maybe 10 minutes to write. So I wrote mine fast. I knew I had the details right. I was pretty good. I had a lot of it right. And what do you mean right? Well, there was a clock on the wall. Nobody really put the time that this incident happened. And in law enforcement, as soon as something jumps off, you better look at your watch. So when you write that report, you'll get an exact timeline. I don't care if it's 2:42 in the afternoon, how many seconds after 2:42. Now, you don't have to go that far, but attention to detail is a must. This is why with most detectives, I'll say, because they're hiring any old cops out here. But with detectives now, they watch everything. Have you ever had detectives come in your house or for whatever reason, they ask about a neighbor or whatever? They're looking around at you. That's just how they are. In public, when they're with their family at the amusement park, they just sitting over there chilling. They got a gun on them. They just watching. Hey, how you doing, buddy? I'm watching you. So when the reports came in, guess what? Some people said the guy had striped pants on, pants with stripes. The lady had a dress on. They said she had on a pants suit. The few people who caught the time right, they got the time wrong. You see, we're not observant enough in our everyday dealings. I'm going to tell you a little secret too. I learned this from a detective friend of mine. If you see a license plate of somebody that just hit somebody, just don't look at the license plate and try to remember it. Say it out loud to yourself. It kind of permeates the brain a little more. You still might forget it. But even in your own house, I'm putting my keys down on the kitchen counter. So now when you think you can't find your keys later on, it'll hit you. I said that. Broadcast these things to yourself. Talk to yourself. Make a mental note when you see those unwarranted glances at you or at your child. Things that don't look right. Somebody comes to your door and they're busy looking over your shoulder. Why? No. You make them wait. They have to talk to you for some reason. You get your keys. I'm not saying go out. If somebody knocks your door at 1 a.m, you ain't going out there. I'm just saying if it's something like 2 p.m, 10 a.m, whatever. If you're by yourself, and you're a woman, and you have the traveling salesman come by, and you don't want to talk to them too long, but this person's knocking your door. You want to know why? You might be single. Your husband might be at work. You might not have a husband or boyfriend. And this person's talking. You're like, listen, I'm not too well right now. I can't talk long. Honey, are you out of the bathroom yet? You ain't got no man. I'm not saying it funny like you don't have a man. And I'm just saying that person will say, oh, there's a husband home this time of the day. You're not going to make it obvious like you're lying. Or my husband's in the back cleaning off all of his machine guns. You're not going to say that. This person trying to psych me out. They're vulnerable. When they come in to use your restroom, this is one that a lot of church folks do when they come by to visit, to check you out. Oh, Sister so-and-so, can I use your restroom? You have a restroom and there's nothing personal in there, you know, because they will go in that bathroom quick. They'll flush to make you think they did something, but they're all up in your medicine cabinet. We got cell phones, y'all. We don't have to just look and write things down and memorize things. Open that bad boy up, see the names on it, see what you take. Quick! 7 toothbrushes. And they all look used. There's more people living in this house. Don't keep your bills out. Don't keep your paychecks out. Even in your own home, when people are coming around, have only certain designated areas where they can come in if you trust them that much. I'd leave a pistol on the coffee table. Not that they can get to, but oh, this guy has a pistol. And why not? And why are you upset at that? Do you have something on your mind that you want to do? Look at the movie Malcolm X when he had them 2 white girls go into the rich white folks' neighborhood. And they had some very inviting, bulging cleavages that most men couldn't pull their eyes off of. And they got entry into the house. And they were dressed high class and knew how to speak. And they got in and could tell what's in your house and send somebody back later. Now, are these the musings of someone who was paranoid? No, I just saw too much. And really, I got to take that back. I didn't see too much. I saw a lot. And I learned a lot. And this is why I say on this banner, trust no one. Until they get to a point where you can trust them to certain points. Don't think, oh, I'm going to trust you now with everything. No. And anybody who wants to maintain trust with you, see, and they're over, and you run to the store, and you got babies who are 4, 5, 6 years old, younger. All of a sudden they want to bust out. Well, kids, it's time for a bath. No. You keep them in the backyard outside. You have a neighbor who is in that window watching them. That man or woman says, come on, let's go inside now. See, attention to detail. As an artist, that's what I do. Attention to detail. I am not going to allow anyone, and it's not just about the children. It is about them. That's first and foremost. Your spouse. There's a lot of creepy dudes out here, y'all. And women. But as a man, I can only speak as a man. A lot of creepy dudes who want to push up on your woman, not even just to try to get sex, but to feel they can have the one up on you because of their own lack of self-esteem. See how sex can be used? There's all kinds of hidden motivations and secret agendas that these people walk with behind a Colgate smile. You just can't accept it like that. What they show you. Do you think on Halloween, when a child shows up to the door as Spider-Man, and that's really Spider-Man? No, that's his mask. That's his costume. So as you go through the day-to-day, and whenever you go out next, ask yourself, what is the costume that these people are wearing? What's the mask? What is it that they want from me, and what is it they're not showing me? Now, you can drive yourself crazy with those thoughts. You don't have to make it dominate. But if we sprinkled a little bit of that in our mind every day as we move about doing business and personal stuff, we'd be a little more protected. If you see a pattern that shouldn't be, somebody sees you home at a certain time and you're by yourself and they keep popping up or driving through the neighborhood and parking the car and wanting to talk. After 3 or 4 times of that, you say, oh, I have to use the restroom. And now you trust them. So, oh, you can come on and use my restroom. Now you pin down in the bed with this person on top of you. You see what I mean? Every day. we see various crimes. It may not involve molestation. It could be other types of violations. There's a gentleman who, really nice gentleman. This guy, I can see this guy has an innocent heart. That's just me saying it. We're all capable of doing things. But he was telling me that where he lives, he rents a room. He works at the water place. And he's not a guy who's wealthy or anything, but he has his job, hardworking, very honest guy. I peeped him a couple of times, so I already know. I gave him the SCURV check, which has been upgraded since I've been to Houston, put it that way. He was telling me that all of the people who rent rooms in that house, they know him well for many years from back in school. I would say he's probably in his mid-20s, 28. So he told me, you know, Lance, have you been trying to call me? I said, well, I tried to call you a week and a half ago, but you didn't pick up. Because I always give him the heads up when I go down to get the water and everything, right? I slip him a few little extra CDs. He's a good guy. So anyway, he said, you know, they stole my phone. And if you can remember, I had a nice phone. He says, I don't have a TV. I don't have cable. I don't have, you know, I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have any, you know, I'm working and I'm working other things and I don't have much, but I'm saving and I'm a good guy. So that was his TV. That was his interaction. That was his phone. As many people who may not have other amenities or other things, that was it for him. He said, when you know that one of those guys broke in the room and took my phone, the only entrance they all use is the front entrance. And there's a man who sits out, older man, you know, across the street. And he said, I was sitting out here all day. The only people that came in there were the people who lived there. So it had to be one of the people that he knew really good, broke in his room and took his phone. He had two phones. He had a really nice phone that he never took all the time. That was his phone. And he had a pretty good phone, a little crack in the thing. So that's the one he took with him. But the good one, and they knew that. And he said, you know what? It's not so much that the phone was stolen, but who stole it? That kind of betrayal. And there are people who don't give a damn about being or risking getting caught to be the one who betrayed. The prize of what they want is worth it. Whenever they do something, unless it's something opportunistic, which means they still had that in their heart. The bottom line is that they had this thing in their heart. And you got to ask yourself, how long have they been thinking? Because unless they're a psycho or a mad person, they were thinking this for a while. Like I always like to say, everything that you see around you is the product of a thought. And every action committed, unless you wake up and somebody's standing over your bed and you have a little piece and you shoot them, they walked into that. But otherwise, every action is the product of a thought. So what are the people around you thinking? You see? So we can't be as distracted as we are. You see? That's right, Al-Kebulin, man. I'm a loner and I don't trust no one no further than I can throw them. That's right. If we meet one day, I don't want you to trust me. I don't want you to trust me. See, we have to earn that to a point. And I know many of my good friends, known for decades. There's one brother in New York City that right now, and we talk frequent. Sends me messages, you know, different things, ideas on shows and everything. All I'll say is that he was also in law enforcement, but I knew him long before that. And there's certain ways we don't move. There's certain ways we don't move. If I'm to come over to his place and his wife is around and he goes out to the garage and I'm not hanging around in the kitchen with her, rapping with her, looking all up and down at her shape and looking at her. You see, but you're not supposed to look. We all see, but are you looking? Because when you looking, that's an aggressive act. I'm gonna look at that. Look at her. Look at them titties, man. You looking. Yo, Lance, did you look at them titties? No, I saw them though. And I kept on moving. I don't have time to harbor thoughts. See, that's why, like I say, in my house, I'm the only dick. All right. Any of them other ones come around, it's for a time, you get your work done. My wife is not around you. Ain't no ogling nothing. And when I get around anybody or any household, I'm very, people think I'm weird too. Yo, man, it's not like that, man. You can go sit down in the living room. It's okay. And your wife got a short skirt on and she's bending over and picking things up. No, I see it, but I'm not looking, but I don't want nobody to say, oh, he in there looking at your wife. See, we don't talk enough about these damn things. We need to. And of course, I say trust no one, but that's how trust is earned. Don't come around me like that. And I ain't coming around you like that. And you will have a clear head of what LANCESCURV is all about because of the way I move. Because I'm not putting myself in any position to even appear to be a certain way. Now, I mean, we have our shows and I talk about the old war stories from the past, little crazy things, whatnot, but face to face, real serious, I'm not out here for that. That's not how I get down. Anyway, I'm going to skedaddle, get a little something to eat, and I'm going to come back. We're going to create some more stuff from sun up to sundown. I'm enjoying myself, resting, and I'm in a place now where I'm much more at peace. Not that I wasn't, but it's easy to maintain when you're close to nature and you talk to that inner voice and you go into that inner universe that I like to say. And I'm just so glad to be able to vibe with everyone. Yeah, Keto. See, without looking, you look at it that way. And I didn't hear that from nobody. That just came to me in my deepest thoughts. We see everything. But it's us who turn our head back around and begin to look. See, and let me add on to that. Let's just use the male-female relationship, right? Dudes who get upset when they see something, you're really looking. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, let's just, and I'm going to end it on this. You walking down the street and there's a nice chick there. And of course, I like backsides. I don't know how many men don't like that. A female backside, right? Little waistline shape, feminine shape. You ain't jumping on nobody. You see it, say, okay. You might look. You look. Don't mean you do anything, but I'm saying you see things. We all see things. So you see that guy who is professing to be such a decent guy, he could be crooked. He could be looking at everything, but he sees something that strikes him to look a bit delicious. Not talking in a food way, even though you can treat it that way. And he said, oh no, okay, yeah, I said, I'm not looking at that. You're looking. I see it. I'll say it. It's like that demon that came to the window the other night, 2:08 in the morning, last Sunday, right? There's nothing around here. What are you doing in my front window? Looking in, standing there. I looked and I saw you. I went to the window. I'm like, what are you doing around here? You know, I had to be rough with her because I don't know if she's setting me up, casing the joint. But she had a nice ass. I saw it. She had these tight pants on a little way. I saw it. See, she was sent on a spirit level or maybe on a real level. Fog and miles of dark roads. Was she sent to tempt me? She was asking for money to go see her grandmother in a town that's 5 hours away. There's no transportation. She didn't have no car, looking for gas money, walking around. Once you leave from this little area, it's spooky. This is beyond country. This is Africa, y'all. You don't want to be out there this time of night. And from what I'm hearing, a lot of the locals like, don't just find yourself out there. So what happens? Someone's going to rob me? No. You will see spirits wandering. You can say I'm crazy, maybe not. It's Miss SCURV, so I called her downstairs so she can see it too. Mrs. SCURV said that chick was not of this world. Even though on a carnal level to most men, she was looking out of this world. How are you dressed up like that time of the morning? See, so if I got caught up in looking, and then thoughts after that come, well, there's all these rooms in this house, and you'll be fast asleep, man. Why don't you come on down and go to the basement with me? I got the money for you. I'm telling you how it is. People say, well, that's how you think. No, there's times I used to think a certain way. I got these experiences, and I can tell it. Y'all know you love them shows on TV. You know where they have the show of the guy who used to break in homes, or he was some high-level gun runner or whatever, and they have him sitting in the shadows, and they change his voice. Oh, yes, I started this when I was 18 years old, and I've been doing this. I didn't hit the big level until I met the big guy when I was 26 years old. And you hear the voice chick, I got to change the voice. And you see his big belly, but you don't see his face. You see his face in the shadows, and it's all fuzzed out. And the things that I've been involved in, I'm that guy, but I'm not changing my voice or fuzzing my face out. See what I mean? Certain things would not go down. All these machetes around here, Mrs. SCURV used in the backyard, my head was chopped off. Anyway. Oh, I'll Kelvin, Sunday service. We'll call it that. We'll call it that. I'll do that. I'm not trying to be nobody's pastor, especially in the context of this guy here. No way. No way. And I know my weak links on the chain. You'll never hear it. I saw Lance out there. He's looking really skinny. I think he's on crack. I know what was within me to watch out. Yeah, Lance, I heard he robbed the bank. He lying. Oh, I saw Lance coming out of a hotel with these well-shaped women 3 a.m. That ain't gonna happen. But if anything was gonna happen, that's what it would be. That's what I have to watch. That's why I see and I ain't looking. Keto, now, I'm gonna always think about that, how you said what a concept, right? But that's true though. That's true. If I'm truly on a diet and committed to losing weight, I can come with you to all you can eat joint, right? And you eating all this food, and if my resolve is strong, I'll look at it. That's food now. I can look at that. I'm seeing it, but I'm not looking at it where, oh man. I had friends of mine when I was doing bodybuilding. I had to be on like reasonably strict diets for like 8 to 12 weeks, depending on what shape I started to prep. And they teased me, Big Mac in front of my face. I know you like that. And I'm sitting there laughing like it ain't gonna work. Because once my mind is set on something, ain't nothing gonna change it. But we don't know what people are thinking, and we don't know who's seeing, and we don't know who's looking. On that note, I want to say enjoy your Sunday, whatever it is that you're doing. I'll make sure to do this all the time. We'll call it Sunday service, right? And I'll make sure that we talk about something. I'll have it where if anybody wants to come on in, you come on in, share a little testimony, right, on the topic, and we'll vibe with each other. And that's what it's all about. Give you something to think about. Not that you don't think, because everybody here in this chat is brilliant, but it's nice to connect with like-minded individuals and people who understand, especially the way I communicate, because, I'm off the chain sometimes. So you don't know what's liable to fly out my mouth, but I'm going to just tell it like it is. But it's been good. I just want to say thank you so much. Enjoy your day. I will be back with a lot of uploads, and maybe I might come on live later on. I don't know. I do have a few things to do around this house, and I've got to wash my funky butt. All right. So that's too much information, but we got to take care of that first, and I'm going to get something to eat. And if I take a walk up the road, I'll bring the camera with me and show you some stuff. But wherever I go, I'm going to bring you with me. And I love this journey that we're on. May the Most High always give you prosperity and enjoyment, no matter what. Enjoying your heart, no matter what you're going through in this world. Just know that every time you see a cloudy day and you don't see the sun shining, that doesn't mean the sun's not there. They're rays just for you. And when those clouds go away, the rays will hit you. What's for you is for you, and it's coming. Just continue to be the wonderful people that you are, and I know you all to be. Much love to you all. LANCESCURV.
Then following Marco Polo, an explorer, he gained entry into Asia and Africa. From China, silk, he took gunpowder. From India, he took jute, manganese, and rubber. He raped Africa of her diamonds and her gold. From the Mideast, he took barrels of oil, raping, robbing, and murdering everything in his path. The whole black world has tasted of the white man's wrath. So my friend, it's not hard to tell. A white man's heaven is a black man's hell. To America, we were living in the east by the Nile River. We were living in luxury, enjoying freedom, justice, and equality. We walked silken roads, it was a gold. We were the wealthiest and the wisest people on the road. Now we are the poorest of the poor. Nobody wants us at their door. So my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven, black man hell. When the white man came to America, he told the Indian, I am your white brother. He said, red man, I'll treat you the best. Yet and still he pushed the Indian further west with his white woman and higher water. Tricks and lies, he stole America. The original of this nation is cooped up on a reservation. So my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven, black man hell. He needed someone to work the land. His back was too weak. He needed you, black man. So he commissioned Sir John Hawkins to commit the world's most grievous sin, to take a man who's born to be free and bring him down to slavery. Sell a man as merchandise, on his body put a price. Oh my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven is a black man hell.